I'm joined by Republican Congressman of Florida and member of the House Armed Services Committee and National Guard Colonel Michael Waltz is with us. I also want to welcome Republican Congressman of Texas and member of the House Committee on Ways and Means, Jodey Arrington. Both of you, welcome to the program.
Good to be with you, Grant.
So, Congressman Waltz,
thanks,
let me start with you. What did you think of today, Congressman Waltz? What did you make of it?
Well, I've said before, I've seen shoplifters get more due process than this, and this is the president of the United States. That's why I voted against impeachment, number one. Number two, this is a purely political process. We know that. Number three, if there truly was a crime here, and inciting violence is a crime in our penal code, former President Trump is a private citizen, then they should take their case to court. But they know it won't fly because every politician, and the Trump's defense team today played a whole slew of them, uses language like fight in Congress, go fight for me, fight for your values. And we all know it's rhetorical. And at the end of the day, what the president literally said was march on Congress peacefully and patriotically. So you're absolutely right. This is about politics. It's the worst of it. And what it's really doing is covering up for the progressive agenda that the Democrats are moving right now as we speak.
Yeah, and the sad part is they're trying to hide that radical agenda is really what it is. But we've seen it with Joe Biden. This will distract away now, Congressman Arrington, from that for, I guess, the next week or so. You know, I had said this is really about fear. It's about what President Trump is going to do in the future. They want to destroy the man. I don't think it's possible to destroy President Trump right now. I think he's gaining in popularity, Congressman Arrington.
Well, they will realize their worst fears if their fear is to keep Donald Trump relevant, because he's only going to be emboldened in those who follow him because he's given voice to the voiceless, because he's been the anti-establishment political leader who's actually come to Washington to do what he campaigned on, and so he has credibility, very much in contrast to this kangaroo court and this political process that is devoid of due process, as Mike suggested. It's not serious. It's flimsy in every regard, and quite frankly, it looks petty and punitive. And with a 5-seat majority in the House and us breathing down Pelosi's neck to take the gavel, I think this is one of the worst things that they can do, not to mention it makes governing our great country all the more difficult.
You know, I don't think they'll ever admit that they made a mistake here. You know, they're going to stick by it. But Congressman Waltz, do you think Chuck Schumer is now realizing this might have been a mistake? Let's get this over as quick as possible.
Well, I think some Democrats are coming to that. I don't think Schumer ever will. I think for Schumer and for Pelosi, it's highly personal. And I think Schumer is looking over his left shoulder at AOC in a primary. So he is completely beholden to the left. But, Grant, I think at the end of the day, what bothers me the most is that just bad for the country. This just pours fuel in the fire of divisiveness. It pours salt in the wounds of the tens of millions of President Trump's supporters. And again, what's worse for the country are the job-killing executive orders that Biden is signing day after day, and the progressive agenda, whether it is spending this country into bankruptcy, ignoring what China is doing, or moving towards, really attacking the fundamentals of this country, like stacking the court. Nobody's talking about the fact that Biden just commissioned a reform of the Supreme Court commission going forward. And so that's what we need to be focused on and talking about while defending President Trump's legacy. And I do think he will be back in the coming years.
Well, you raise a good point that this is certainly not about unity. And Congressman Arrington, Joe Biden, all he talked about was unity. But we know how every senator is going to vote already in there, which makes this not a fair trial and certainly not about unity, Congressman.
No, this is very backwards looking. It's very punitive. This after a deluge of executive orders that have been hostile to working families in the industry, energy industry. and compromising the security of the American people living in border states like Texas, where you've got razor wire fencing to protect politicians like Nancy Pelosi, which they conveniently support when it has to do with protecting their precious heads, but not when it comes to the American people living along the border and throughout the country. So it's the height of hypocrisy, and it's a radical agenda, and it's punitive, and all these things. I believe the American people, I have great faith in them, that they see right through it. And that's why we won 14 seats, that we flipped from Democrat to Republican, while we have a 5-seat margin, and why we're going to take the House back in 2022.
Yeah, you know, I think we can come on and talk about this all we want. The truth is, the best offense here is letting them talk and letting the American people hear their hypocrisy day in and day out. They hurt themselves as soon as they open their mouths. Congressman Waltz, Congressman Arrington, great to have you both on this program. Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks, Grant.
All right. See you soon.